On January 7, 1991, the United States Navy killed its own stealth fighter. They'd spent $5 billion over 7 years, and what did they get? The A-12 Avenger, a jet that never flew. Not even once. The only thing they had to show was a full-size mock-up, sitting in some hangar down in Texas. That's it. Still today, it's the biggest program cancellation in Defense Department history. Now, jump ahead 35 years. The Navy's back at the same crossroads, making a similar gamble. Congress already put $900 million on the line for a fighter jet that doesn't exist yet, working with a company they haven't even picked yet. By the end of August, either Boeing or Northrop Grumman will get handed the most important carrier fighter contract in a generation. And honestly, picking the winner isn't the story. The real story is what both of them are racing not to become. Before we dive into this topic, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel to support us. Let's get started. The cost of the A-12. Look, this isn't the Navy's first rodeo with stealth jets. They've tried before, and it crashed and burned. Way back in 1983, the Navy wanted a replacement for the aging A-6 Intruder, a bomber that could sneak past Soviet radar and go deep inland. That plane, the A-12 Avenger II, kind of a flying wing shaped like a triangle. Pilots jokingly called it Flying Dorito. Sounds revolutionary, right? In reality, it was a mess. The plane kept putting on weight. The radar-absorbing coating flaked off. Costs just kept ballooning, way past what anyone budgeted for. By January 1991, with the Cold War basically shutting down and the bills still piling up, Defense Secretary Dick Cheney killed the whole thing. No prototype, no flight. Just lawsuits between the government and contractors that dragged out for more than 20 years. The Navy walked away and bought the F/A-18 Super Hornet instead. That jet still flies off carrier decks today, more than 30 years later. That's what people forget. The temporary fighter they settled for after the stealth program fell apart, it ended up being the backbone of naval aviation for an entire generation. So when you hear the Navy is ready to try for a real stealth fighter again, built for carriers, 6th generation, the whole package, you have to keep in mind what's actually at stake. If this program stumbles like the A-12, there's no promise anyone gets another chance for 30 years. Why the Navy needs this now? Why dust off the playbook now, in 2026, after the program nearly got the axe again? 2 reasons: China and money. Let's start with China. For about 18 months, satellite photos and test flight leaks started showing what the Pentagon didn't want to say out loud. China isn't just sketching 6th-gen fighters, it's flying them. The Chengdu J-36 showed up in flight footage around December 2024. 3 engines, a flying wing, 0 tail. Analysts say it's built for long-range strikes into the Pacific. And it's not just one test flight either. The J-36 has already gone through several rounds of testing, the 3rd one landing on Christmas Day 2025. Then there's the Shenyang J-50, smaller, twin-engine, also tailless, and shaped just right for carriers. It went public at Beijing's military parade in September 2025 and went into active testing by early 2026. So now you've got 2 separate 6th-generation fighter programs running at 2 separate facilities on a compressed timeline. No other country on Earth is attempting that right now, including the United States. Meanwhile, the US Air Force's F-47 isn't supposed to fly until 2028, and nobody's seen anything but teasers. That gap, that's why the Navy suddenly stopped putting this off. The budget fight? Then there's the budget fight, and it got worse before it got better. The fiscal year 2025 request gave the program just $74 million. barely enough to keep the lights on. Then in June 2025, the Pentagon actually asked Congress to formally redirect $500 million away from the Navy's program and hand it to the Air Force's F-47 instead. Same logic both times. One 6th-gen fighter is cheaper than funding two. Congress swatted that down twice. Lawmakers not only restored the budget, they kept boosting it. By January 2026, the finalized defense budget gave the program just a hair under $900 million, over 10 times what the Pentagon originally wanted to give it. That's where the money in the title comes from. Congress made sure this program survived, on purpose, even as the people managing the budget were ready to let it go. Here's a detail most people miss too. There used to be 3 companies in this fight, not 2. Lockheed Martin, the company that builds the F-22 and the F-35, basically every stealth fighter America's flown for the last 20 years, submitted a bid as well. In March 2025, the Navy quietly cut them. The reporting at the time said Lockheed's proposal simply didn't satisfy the service's criteria. No further detail than that. For the company that's dominated 5th-generation stealth almost single-handedly, getting eliminated before the finalist round was a genuine shock to a lot of people in the industry. That's how we ended up with just 2 names on the ballot for August, Boeing and Northrop Grumman. So, whoever wins this contract, they're not just building a jet, they're inheriting a program Congress has already decided is too important to lose a second time. And if you're curious what Boeing and Northrop Grumman are actually proposing, stick around because this is where it gets good. Hit subscribe if you don't want to miss which one actually wins this in a few weeks. Here's exactly where their ideas split. Boeing's bet. Here's how Boeing is playing this. They already made their decision somewhere else. In August 2025, at the Navy's own Tailhook Symposium, Boeing quietly rolled out a new rendering of their FA-XX.
Analysts spotted it right away. The canopy looks nearly identical to Boeing's F-47, the Air Force's new 6th-gen fighter. That's no accident. It's a game plan. Boeing's betting that designing 2 6th-gen jets at once gets easier if they share DNA. Same canopy, similar forebody, can add 4 planes on both jets, which gives better low-speed control, the stuff you need for landing a jet carrier side, not just on a regular runway. But the details change for the Navy.
The FA-XX shows a smaller, narrower nose compared to the Air Force version, probably for better pilot visibility during carrier approaches, which are some of the hardest maneuvers out there. And instead of using the F-47's fancy new adaptive engine, FA-XX likely sticks with an evolved version of an existing engine. That's usually a faster path with less risk. The FA-XX is supposed to fly about 25% further than today's strike fighters, something like a 1,000-mile combat radius, nearly double what the Super Hornet can manage now. That's a direct answer to the Navy's growing fear of being caught too close to Chinese anti-ship missiles. There's a lot riding on this for Boeing specifically too. The company sank $1.8 billion into a brand new advanced combat aircraft facility in St. Louis, built to chase exactly this kind of 6th-generation work. Winning FA-XX on top of the F-47 isn't just another program for them, it's the payoff on that bet actually working out. Here's Boeing's big advantage though. If they win, the Navy and Air Force end up with 2 jets sharing factories, tools, and probably supply chains. It's efficient. That's what the Pentagon wanted in the first place when it tried to redirect that $500 million. But that's exactly what worries Navy leadership. Admiral Daryl Cotto, the Chief of Naval Operations, made it clear he's worried about contractors being stretched too thin. His words were that the Navy doesn't want to oversubscribe the same companies working multiple major projects at once. So, can a single contractor actually deliver two different 6th Gen fighters for two separate service branches without one of those projects falling years behind. Boeing says yes. Whether the Navy believes it, that's the whole question. Northrop's bet. Northrop Grumman is going in the opposite direction, with a whole different kind of history behind it. On April 20th, 2026, during the Navy's Sea Airspace Conference, Northrop released its most detailed FA-XX concept video so far. And you won't catch any Air Force jet DNA here. Instead, the design pulls straight from Northrop's own bombers, the B-2 Spirit and the newer B-21 Raider. The key feature? What's missing? No vertical tail, no horizontal stabilizers. Just a clean, tailless shape, cutting out the radar reflecting surfaces you get with a traditional tail. That's the same thinking that makes the B-21 nearly invisible on radar, and now they're applying it to a fighter. Even the air intakes tell the story. They sit up on top of the fuselage, on either side of the center line, just like the B-2 and B-21. That placement shields them from ground-based radar looking upward, which matters enormously against a dense, layered enemy air defense network. There's a ghost from even further back here too. Look at the Chinese running along the fuselage, and aviation people see something familiar. The YF-23 Black Widow, Northrop's fighter that lost to the F-22 in the competition that defined the last generation of American air dominance. This time, that same design lineage might not lose. Northrop's talking big on performance too. They claim this design will beat the B-21's own stealth signature, which is a big claim since the B-21 is currently the hardest to detect aircraft in the American arsenal. They're promising smart skin, sensors woven right into the airframe, plus that same 25% range boost over the Super Hornet the whole program is chasing. Northrop's CEO, Kathy Warden, was direct about the industrial question. When Admiral Caudill raised concerns about contractors being spread too thin, she said flatly that Northrop has the capacity to deliver. That was basically the whole answer. There's something else on the line for Northrop here too. Win this, and it's their first new fighter contract since the F-14 Tomcat. Yes, the jet from the original Top Gun. Northrop hasn't put a fighter into US South service since. Everything since then has been bombers and drones. And that confidence from Warden makes sense, even what a win actually means. Northrop already builds the B-21 bomber, the most important stealth aircraft program in the country. Win FA-XX, and Northrop becomes the only company on Earth simultaneously building America's next bomber and its next carrier fighter. No contractor has ever held that much of the American stealth industry at once. Either way, something changes. So here's where it actually lands. Two very different bets, and only one of them wins in August. If Boeing wins, the Navy gets a fighter built on the bones of the Air Force's F-47. Shared tooling, shared production lines, in theory a faster and cheaper path because so much of the hard engineering already happens on the Air Force side. The risk is concentration. One company now responsible for both of America's next generation fighter programs, right when Admiral Caudill has publicly worried about contractors being spread too thin. If Northrop wins, the Navy gets a design built from pure bomber stealth pedigree with no compromises borrowed from another service's requirements. The risk flips to the other side. Northrop becomes the sole builder of both the B-21 and FA-XX, and it's not just stealth aircraft either. Northrop's also elbow deep in the Sentinel ICBM overhaul, a nuclear missile program that's already run over its own budget and schedule. Add a fighter jet on top of that, and some people in the Pentagon are quietly asking if the company can actually keep every ball in the air at once. Neither path is free of risk. That's not a coincidence. It's the whole reason this decision has taken this long. The Pentagon spent over a year weighing exactly this trade-off, torn between the efficiency of Constellation and the danger of putting too much of America's next-generation air power in one place. What doesn't change, no matter who wins, is the timeline pressure. An August decision puts the winning design into engineering and manufacturing development starting in 2027. First flight is expected sometime in the early 2030s. Combat-ready operations off a carrier deck likely land sometime later in that same decade. There's no firm date beyond that. And somewhere out over the Pacific, the J-36 and the J-50 are still flying test missions right now, while America's answer is still just a rendering on a screen. What happens next? No matter who gets this contract, remember the A-12. Winning isn't the hard part. Delivering is. On budget, on schedule, without the weight gain and cost overruns that killed the Navy's last stealth fighter before it ever left the ground. That's the difference between $900 million turning into a carrier deck full of sixth-generation fighters, or another mock-up collecting dust in a hangar somewhere and another 30-year wait. The Navy's betting $900 million that this time is different. We'll know which company they betted on within a few weeks, and the moment that decision drops, we'll be back with what it actually means, because picking a winner is easy. Building the thing is where every Navy stealth program before this one has gone to die. If this kept you watching this long, you know what to do. Like it, subscribe, and hit the bell. Until the next time, clear skies.